It has taken way longer than I planned to do this review. This video is not sponsored by any of the companies mentioned. Hi, Shanna Rowe Jackson here from Caution Artists at Play, and today I am going to be trying out the Pitt Graphite Matte pencils by Faber-Castell. And I have been wanting to try these since I heard about them coming out. I believe they were probably released, I think in like 2021. That's when I remember first hearing about them and seeing other people do reviews. I haven't watched other people's full reviews because I want to get an idea for myself, but I saw a bunch popping up around that time in a bunch of blogs. And I have seen them kind of touting them as the first matte graphite pencil, the world's first, as you can see here. However, I think that's kind of odd because in 2020, and I believe I've seen them around even before then, I reviewed the Mars Lumograph Black graphite pencils, and these are also known as a matte pencil. So I'm interested to see what the difference is between the two. Maybe this is a different formulation, and that's why they're calling the world's first. Maybe they're not as like charcoal-y as these ones are, because that's kind of what this is. It's just more carbon, and so they're darker because there's kind of like a charcoal content in them. And so I'm wondering if this is similar or if this is like a whole new formulation, and that's why they're saying it's the world's first. But there's other matte graphite pencils on the market that have been around for a little bit, so I don't know where that's coming from. Honestly, I'm going to have to try them both. I think I'm going to like just do some swatches just to see if they feel similar. So let's just talk about this set a little bit. It is an 11 set, and the one that I had from Staedtler is just 6. And so it touts it as extremely matte graphite pencil of supreme artist quality, ultra matte graphite laydown for reduced reflection on paper, highest color density for maximum depth effect, smooth graphite application, ideal for writing, drawing, and sketching, extra break resistant, environmentally friendly, water-based varnish available in 8 degrees of hardness, HB, 2B, 4B, 6B, 8B, 10B, 12B, and 14B. And to me, that's really exciting. I'm really interested in trying the 12B and 14B. This only goes up to an 8B, so I'm definitely curious to see how that works out. And I genuinely wanted to do this as mainly a review video, not so much a comparison. I'll do some comparison swatches, but once I heard that people were saying like this is the world's first, I was really curious because these had already been advertised as a matte graphite. So I'm just really curious to see what the difference is. I'll do a full piece in these, but if you want to see my full review on these, I will link that in the description below. All right, so let's take a look. Standard Faber-Castell tin with their logo since 1761. Definitely a great company. I love how it's hinged, so you don't have to worry about losing it. And this set is really nice because it comes with a blending stump, comes with the sharpener, and an eraser. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's just a regular white eraser. It's not the kneadable one. Ooh, and it's even printed on. PVC free. Okay, let's take a look at these beautiful pencils. So I just took a peek at Blick. They are available open stock. They also have a set of 6 available and a set of 11, which is the set that I have here. And they're available at open stock as of right now while filming. They are $2.85 per pencil. That's pricier than the Lumograph Black. These ones are about $2 a pencil. But again, I don't know how they compare in use. I just have used these before, so like these are kind of stuck in my mind. Anyway, so let's look at the pencils themselves. We got HB, 2B, 4B, 6B, 8B, 10B, 12B, and 14B. No duplicates in this set. And it's really interesting that one side of them has the gold, the other side where the barcode and everything else is, and it says made in Germany, and it has the reorder number, is kind of like a matte, almost like a a cream color, and that's probably so it's easier to scan at the register when they are sold open stock in store. And so I really like that because it's really easy to see. They are pre-sharpened. The wood looks like it's of high quality. I mean, it is a Faber-Castell product. You're going to get a good quality product with Faber-Castell. So very pretty if I can get it to focus. And yeah, just a standard blending stump. Okay, let's start swatching these. So I do have it laid out so that I can swatch both kinds so we can kind of see a comparison. And obviously there's more in the Pitt Graphite Matte set, so I'm going to swatch the last 3 without comparing it to this set here, mainly because I want to see those. Like, I'm really excited to see something that goes above a 9B pencil. I've never seen anything. I don't know. I feel like maybe I've seen a 12B. I don't know. I don't remember seeing anything go that high. So I'm really, really excited about that. But I mainly want to kind of just see what the working properties are like. So just as an example, with a pencil that I have used before, I don't have an HB in this set, so I'm not going to swatch the HB for this, but I will kind of put an HB here. Because for some reason, my Lumograph set came with 2B instead of an HB. I guess you can get sets both ways. I thought that was very strange. Even on the tin, it advertises the 2B, but when I bought it, I didn't realize that. But anyway, I digress. It's not really about this pencil. I just want to kind of see the difference for myself. And I'm a lefty, so I'm kind of doing this backwards, but that's okay. And I'm just working in a mixed media sketchbook. It's the XL by Canson. And that's what I'm working in just for the swatches. I'll be using some watercolor paper, some hot press watercolor paper for my actual piece. This is the 4B. So for those of you who don't know what the grading system is on the pencil, it is, B refers to softness. So the higher the number next to the B, the softer the pencil gets, and also the darker it gets. H stands for hard, and so the higher the number is next to the H, the lighter it's going to get. I don't really have any H's here. HB is kind of somewhere in the middle. It's good for doing initial sketches and things like that. And some sets have an F in them. I think that's kind of similar to an HB, but you can get a nice fine line with them. Okay, so that's what the Lumograph Black looks like. Let's take a peek. Here is the pencil of the hour, folks. We're going to start with my 2B. I'll come back and swatch the HB after because I just want to see. Right off the bat, this feels a little bit harder than the 2B and a little bit more like regular graphite than the 2B that's in the Lumograph Black. So I'm wondering if it really is its own formulation that's just making the graphite matte instead of adding like more carbon, making it more charcoal like. And if that's the case, that is really exciting, and it is actually very innovative. Because the main thing is, with pencil, you want to be able to get a full gradient, a nice full range of values, but sometimes they get a little bit shiny. And so that's what we're trying to kind of eradicate here. That's why they're making matte pencils. And so far, these definitely feel more like regular graphite pencils than the Mars Lumograph Black do. And look at that. And I'll show you the sheen after. This is why I wanted to test them right next to each other, because I wanted to see why they were advertising themselves as the first of their kind, because there's already a matte pencil out there. So I just wanted to see how innovative Faber-Castell got. And I'm pretty pleased with it, because I didn't want to have anything that was just like what I already had. I was hoping to have something different. So, right off the bat, the 8B looks darker in the Mars Lumograph Black, and that is because I think it's got a higher content of carbon in it. It's more powdery, I guess. But look, neither one of them shine. This looks a lot more like regular graphite to me. This, we're starting to look and feel a bit more like charcoal pencil in the 8B. This feels a lot like regular graphite. And so I like that a lot, because mixing the two together, mixing charcoal and graphite together, graphite's more of a lubricant, and so you can't really put a high amount of charcoal over a graphite thing. It doesn't stick as well. You can do it kind of the other way around, but obviously the charcoal is going to be darker, and you're going to, you know. So I don't need to get too far into that in this video. I only just want to say that this feels more like regular graphite. This feels like we're getting into charcoal pencil territory. And so I'm very excited. Now let's get into the darker colors and see if those are consistent with that. See if they're consistent with that graphite feel that I just got with the other grades. And also, I'm curious to see if any of these pencils get as dark as that 8B without feeling too charcoaly. Obviously, layering will give me more of that, but yeah, that 12B is pretty dark. Oh, that's exciting. And I'm just giving my thoughts kind of out loud right now, so I apologize if this is a little bit rambly, because this is like my real-time thoughts as I'm trying these and comparing the two brands. Yeah, that 14B is pretty dark. That's exciting. Now, I think we're like nearing, I think the 14B is nearing the 8B in this. So, I mean, the 8B in this line is really dark in the Lumograph Black line. But again, you can really feel the charcoal content in that. This still is feeling more like graphite, a little bit more of a smoother application. And this is pretty solid. These are soft pencils. This is a 14B. It's supposed to be really soft, pretty strong. Let's try this 8B. A little bit more crumbling. Because, again, I think the 8B in the Lumograph line has a little bit more of that charcoal content. And all graphite and charcoal pencils have carbon in them, but these ones were advertised as having more carbon in them. And so I am actually very happy so far with the results of this. Now let's see some blending. Let's blend this 8B. Let's see how smooth the blending is. The 8B in this isn't really comparable, but that blends out really nice. Now the 14B compares to the 8B in that really well, so let's blend that and see. Definitely blends very nicely. And again, I'm not being too precious with my pencil strokes or anything. I'm not trying to get it too even, and so the blend would be a lot better, obviously, if I was being more mindful of how I was putting my pencil strokes to the paper. But all in all, I'm very happy with this. Definitely no sheen. I am satisfied with the fact that they are different from the Mars Lumograph Black enough. It looks like they found a way to make really, really dark matte graphite pencils without having to add too much of that charcoal feel to it. Very, very happy with that. All right, so I am going to put these ones away, and I'm throwing stuff around. Can you hear stuff falling? I am going to put those ones away, and I'm going to start on my project now. I'm so excited. Okay, so one more thing that I want to show you before I get started with the project. I have a Faber-Castell Gold Faber pencil here. It's just a regular graphite pencil. I don't have any of their 9000 pencils, but this is just a standard graphite pencil. I have it in a 4B, and I laid that down to compare it to a 4B in the Pitt Graphite Matte. And as you can see, I did 3 layers of the regular graphite pencil compared to 1 layer of the Pitt Graphite Matte, and this is almost as dark as the 3 layers. So if I were to do 3 layers of this, it would get much darker than that first one. So 1 layer of this is as dark, pretty much as dark as 3 layers of a regular pencil. And then just to kind of compare it to the shine, let me see if I can get the light there. If you look at that, look how shiny that top one is. The second one does definitely have some sheen to it, but nothing compared to the top one. So these are definitely darker and more matte, and they also blend out more beautifully as well. Just right on the paper, if you look, this is a little bit streakier, and this kind of has more of a smoother blend. So that's how they compare to a regular pencil in the same company. Okay, so let's hop on in. First of all, I want to say, yeah, I forgot to swatch my HB pencil. Totally planned to, had a spot on the swatch card, and it didn't end up happening. But fear not, because that is what I'm using to draw my preliminary outline. Now, normally I wouldn't just hop on in and do a freehand drawing like this, but I kind of wanted to see how easy these would be to correct. Normally I draw on a cheaper piece of paper and transfer it over so I could get all that stuff worked out ahead of time, but I wanted to check how it erased and how easy it was to fix my own mistakes, and I thought the best way to do that is to freehand. And since it is a landscape, I'm not concerned. If a pine needle's out of place, nobody's gonna know. It really doesn't matter. So here we are. I absolutely enjoyed working with these pencils. So I love having the full range that they offer in this set. I worked the same way I normally do with any regular graphite, and that is in layers. And I usually start with my harder, lighter pencils first, and then come through with my darker pencils after. And it worked really well. These layered really well. The sky is mostly going to be in HB and 2B because I want that to be the lighter part of the piece. And then I came in maybe with a little bit of 4B down the line just to darken things up if I needed to. And so most of the HB and 2B work will be done in the sky, as you see here. So that's why I'm able to get these lighter values. And I just worked in small circular motions most of the time, but you will see there are some times in these clouds that I get absolutely messy. Again, I want to check the blendability of these. And so you're going to see me do all kinds of wacky things with this drawing so that I can see, how can I fix this mistake? How can I blend this out? Do these blend really easily? You know, you'll just see, like, I'm working. Some things look a little ugly at first, but it all comes together. And something that I noticed about these is they don't smudge as easily as I was worried about. They blend when I want them to blend, but being the lefty that I am, again, normally I work from the right side and work my way back left because I am a lefty. I don't want to smear things. But I was all over the place in this one, and it did not smear nearly as bad as I was worried about. If this was regular graphite, you'd be able to see, like, my handprint in it because it would be so bad. Now, That being said, I wasn't pushing it too much. I have my hand off the paper for the majority of it. I am not resting my hand actually on the paper. I'm kind of choking back on the pencil a little bit and letting the pencil do all the work and not resting and working my arm to draw this instead of mostly my wrist and resting my hand. So that is part of the reason. However, there were times that my hand had to touch the paper and it did not ruin it. So I was very excited about that. The one thing that I did notice with these is that they had crumbs and weird little microscopic crumbs that I don't notice with other graphite. And I couldn't just blow them away or wipe them off. I had to use an eraser to remove them, but they removed really easily with an eraser. So that's something else altogether. So I want to talk a little bit about what their claim to fame is, and we'll get into it. So the Pitt Graphite Matte is the new black. Matte and deep black. Artists all over the world have been searching for a graphite lead like this one for years. Faber-Castell is now presenting the Pitt Graphite Matte, a world first that stands for reduced flexion on paper for maximum total value, density, and incredible depth effect. The soft laydown gives the drawing a spontaneous artistic touch and is ideal for extravagant sketching and drawing. The Pitt Graphite Matte is extra break resistant, light fast, and features environmentally friendly water-based varnish. It is available in 8 degrees of hardness: HB, 2B, 4B, 6B, 8B, 10B, 12B, and 14B, as you saw in the beginning of the video. Now, I want to revisit the idea that this is the first matte graphite pencil, because as I was editing this, I realized, wait a minute, the Lumograph Black is not the only matte graphite pencil I have reviewed. Just last year, I reviewed the Blackwing Matte graphite pencil. It literally has matte in the name. So, of course, I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And then I decided to look a little bit deeper into it, obviously. And I went to the Jackson's Art Supply website, and on their listing, it mentions that the 10B, the 12B, and the 14B are new to the Faber-Castell range of graphite, and the 14B is a world first. And then I was looking in their pamphlet again, and it does say that with its 14B lead, Faber-Castell has come up with another world first. The extremely deep black drawing in combination with the matte look opens up a new dimension of monochrome drawing. So I think they're referring to the 14B pencil, which makes a lot more sense to me because, as I mentioned, I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen a 14B pencil before. Well, this is why. So I think that they could probably do a little bit better advertising. I think they could state more clearly on the packaging that the 14B pencil is what they're advertising as the world's first, because as it stands right now, it makes it look like they're trying to say they're the world's first matte graphite pencil, but there's already other options on the market. On the front of the tin, as you saw, it just says world first, and a lot of people who have done reviews are kind of touting them as the world first matte pencil, when that's obviously not the case. I've tried 2 other matte pencils just on this channel alone, and I'm not even a full-on graphite artist. And I do want to point out that the 8B in the Mars Lumograph Black line, as you saw, was pretty much as dark as the 14B in this line. So, I mean, the 14B is really exciting, but it's not necessarily the darkest pencil out there either. So I will be referencing the Blackwing Matte and the Staedtler Lumograph Black, because those are the only things that I really have to compare these two. Now, if we're comparing the 3 matte pencils that I have tried, this one feels the most like regular graphite. Now, as I mentioned before, graphite and charcoal, they're all carbon. But graphite is more of a lubricant, which is why it's more slick, and things don't like to grip to it. Like if you think of like trying to, like if you burnish down some graphite and you try to draw over it with like colored pencil or something, it's not sticking. The other things don't stick to it well. A lot of times charcoal doesn't stick on top of graphite. However, graphite will stick on top of charcoal. So like charcoal is more of that dry, powdery, scratchy kind of texture, and graphite is more slick and things slide right off it. So, thinking about the matte graphite pencils that I have tried, the Lumograph Black by Staedtler they feel the most like a charcoal pencil once you start getting into those higher grades. Those are the ones that you saw me swatch in the beginning. The matte by Blackwing. Now, Blackwing is like the creme de la creme of pencils. It's the most expensive out of the 3 that I have tried as far as matte graphite goes. Somewhere in between. This one feels the most like regular graphite. Even the Blackwing Matte kind of felt like it was starting to get into charcoal territory. I didn't have that issue in this set. I just wanted to throw that out there because I have tried these other pencils, and so I just wanted you to be aware. There are other options on the market. However, I really do love these pencils. I love Faber-Castell in general. I like most of their materials, and so I'm not complaining about these pencils. I love the way they work. They're beautiful. And I loved my experience with the Staedtler Mars Black as well. One of my favorite graphite drawings that I've ever done, I did with those pencils. However, I do like the feeling of these ones more. I have to work with a Blackwing a little bit more. I have their sample set, and I'd like to try all their pencils together, and that's going to be in a future video. But I mentioned in my video where I reviewed the Blackwing, I probably should have chosen a different paper. This paper that I'm using here is a hot press watercolor paper. It's 100% cotton. It is the Fluid 100, and normally I like to work on either a hot press or the Strathmore Mixed Media 400 series paper is also one of my favorites. That's what I used when I did the Mars Lumograph Black review. And so I kind of grabbed this paper because it was readily available to me. I already had it down out of the studio, and I wanted to work small this time. I'm coming off of an injury of my arm. I didn't want to overdo it with a pencil drawing, and I also just wanted to play with a pencil. So I didn't want to do anything too large. And so I grabbed this paper because it is very close to the mixed media paper that I normally work on, like feeling-wise. Absolutely love it. So I was able to get all the layers that I wanted. The pencils grip to each other very well. I'm not getting that charcoal feel like I mentioned before. And the range in the set is beautiful. I absolutely love it. As I mentioned, it was HB and 2B and a little bit of 4B in the sky. And then working down to those background trees is where I got into the 4B, 6B range and some 8B. And then down on the foreground, it's mostly 4B to 6B and then a little bit of 8B in between. And then for the darkest shadows around the tree and the tree itself, that's when I'm getting into the higher ranges with, you know, my 12B, my 14B, and 10B, things like that. And so I wanted the tree to be the center of attention, so that's where I wanted my darkest darks, and that's where I wanted the highest contrast. I wanted the eye to go right to that tree, and these worked perfectly for that, because it's almost silhouetted against those clouds. And I have to say, I actually plan on painting this same scene in color, but in a different format. I zoomed in on the tree for this because I figured this would be a great value study for when I decide to do my painting. I do plan on doing probably an acrylic painting of this scene, but that's going to be more panoramic. I am very happy with how it came out. I think it's a great standalone piece and it's a great exercise. But the pencils, chef's kiss. Absolutely love them. Great price. Like I said, they are a little bit more expensive than the Lumograph Black, but they're definitely cheaper than the Blackwing. And as far as matteness goes, I don't feel like they're any more matte than the other two that I've tried, but they definitely look a lot less like charcoal and more like graphite on the paper. And I also wanted to mention the eraser that comes with the set is great, but I also pulled in the Perfection eraser by Faber-Castell. I use that in everything. I use it in my colored pencil, all my graphite drawings, and I like the precision of it, and so I wanted to test it out with these pencils as well. And so you'll see me use that as well as a Zero Mono eraser by Tombow because, again, I wanted the precision. But the eraser that came with the set is beautiful for larger areas. I like the handheld sharpener. I use the sharpener throughout the majority of this piece, and I can't complain about any of that. All around great set. Okay, folks, here it is. I'm calling it finished. So if you look, there definitely is still some graphite sheen. It's not as bad as it would be. Like it's, you know, normally a regular graphite pencil would it just be outrageous. But this, it's definitely better than it would be. And I have to say, I really love the feel of these pencils. I feel like they definitely feel a little bit smoother in use than the the Staedtler Mars Lumograph Black. I really loved those to draw with as well. I loved the drawing that I came up with them, but I have to say, I think I might like these ones better. I highly recommend these pencils. I enjoyed working with this. I thoroughly enjoyed working with it, and I love the results. And yeah, so definitely 10 out of 10 for me. Like I said, there's a little bit of glare, but that's nothing compared to what it would have been. And I definitely got my full range of values that I wanted. Absolutely love these pencils, and I cannot wait to use them more in the future. All right, so thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this review, and I hope that you learned a little something about these pencils, because otherwise, what the heck am I doing here? Next week, I am going to be talking to you about the 5 things that I wish I had known when I was first starting out. So if that interests you, please hit subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so that you can get notified when I post. And if you could like and share this video, it definitely helps my channel a lot. I really appreciate your support. Thank you again. You have a great day. See you next week. Bye.